I walked into the classroom and it was chaos. The testosterone was so thick in that room you could have cut it with a knife. I had never experienced anything like that before. The students were aggressive, argumentative, rude, and they were ready for a fight. I was an instructor working for the Australian Agricultural College. I taught certificate courses in agriculture, horticulture and conservation and land management, and I would travel all over North Queensland to the workplace. I'd been called in at last moment to take over a course because the last instructor had to leave unexpectedly. I walked out to the nursery in the middle of the paddock. I was teaching a 1-week propagation course. So my students, all male, were in the nursery propagating seeds and cuttings. This was a commercial farm, a prison farm. I was the only female there and no prison officers in sight. I turned around and the sky was blotted out. I looked up and here was a 2-metre giant, a dark, serious face, a Torres Strait Islander guy. He was obviously big and strong, shoulders like a barn door, hands size of plates. Hello? Are you supposed to be at the propagation workshop? Yes. I didn't see you in the classroom yesterday. I was busy. Right, what were you doing? Working in the bananas. Right. Well, hello, my name's Eva and I'm your horticulture instructor for the next week. What's your name? Tom. Right. So Tom went working with the rest of the guys. There was about a dozen of them in the nursery. At the end of the day, I walked through the mango orchard to go back to the classrooms. And a car came past with one of the prison officers saying, "Hi Eva, how are you going?" I've been working at this place for many times, so they knew who I was. "Oh, I'm all right, but you know, the students, they're a bit aggro, a bit bit ready for a fight." They said, "Oh yeah, didn't they tell you?" No. "Oh yeah, the last instructor, the guys had a bit of altercation with him, so he had to go." Oh. And you know, and watch out, you know, the main guy was Tom. Right. No, I had not been told. Because I usually set the scene when I'm an instructor. I tell the guys no swearing, caps off, everybody being polite and show respect. I've never had any problems except that time. Right. So with a lot of the workshops or courses, you do practical aspects out in the field and then you have theory in the classroom. Tom never came to the classroom once, but that was okay. Then we had to have an assessment. So you not only does your delivery had to be flexible according to your students' needs and circumstances, but also the assessment. So for this course, it was an oral assessment because a lot of the students had low numeracy and literacy skills. So the fellows came in one at a time into the classroom and sat on the other side of the desk. So not only could they just answer the questions, they also had the opportunity to draw their answers if that made it easier. So most of the guys, they passed their assessments. Some didn't, and they're okay with that. Lucky last was Tom. He came in and sat down. Now, even before I asked him the questions, I knew that he wouldn't have known half of the answers. So after answering 2 questions out of 12, I said, I'm sorry, Tom, I can't make you competent in this subject because you don't know most of the questions or the answers. Well, his face turned to stone, and then it contorted into aggression, and his whole body was coiled up like a stainless steel spring. He was ready for a fight. I was in his territory. He had nothing to lose. He was in prison already. So I thought, right, I had to come up with something here to deflect his anger and his aggression, because I could actually see in my mind how my face would have been plastered to the back wall with a big fist in it. So I said, Tom, we actually give our students a second chance. His face sort of, I could see it freeze. I said, if you like, you can go away and read up on the questions that you didn't know really well, and then you could come back and do the assessment again. He said, no, I won't come back. He stood up, turned around, and walked out the door. Just as he reaching the door, he turned around and said, yes, miss, I will be back at 3 o'clock. Well, I turned to jelly and just about slid off the chair on the floor. That was a close call. So with shaking legs, I walked out the room to next door, where the prison officers and the program officers were. Tom did come back at 3 o'clock. This time, I had a prison officer in my classroom. He did not pass the test, but I passed mine. Acute problem solving.